Hi, Jordan. Thank you so much for joining me today. You've had some incredible success since joining Auto Growth, and I'm really excited to share your story with everybody. Just to kick off, can you just tell us who you are, where you're based, what you do, the name of your business?
So I'm Jordan. So I'm based in Ipswich, sort of Copdock area, and my business is Titan Detailing and P. And then I kind of just do machine polishing and ceramic coating, really, on vehicles, like 5 days a week, all day, every day.
Amazing. And can you kind of take us back to before you kind of started working with us? I know that you had worked with another agency, and before that, when we first ever spoke, you were actually juggling kind of multiple jobs and everything like that. So can you kind of take us back on what was going on in the kind of business at that point?
Yeah, so I mean, originally I was doing this part time. I was a PE teacher in a special needs school, so I used to do that. Had my personal training business as well, and then I was working with another person who was based near to where I'm based now. I was just doing that part time, and then kind of had a knee operation and thought I might as well just go out on my own and kind of do my own thing. Look to do it full time in the future. We originally spoke sort of like last year and sort of like early last year, and it was kind of umming and ahhing, and I was undecided if I could kind of financially commit to it. My situation of having multiple jobs. So you guys were really good. You kind of said just go away, think about it, get yourself in a good position where you can do it and not worry about what you're spending on advertising and bits and bobs like that, which was really good advice to be fair, because I think the position I'm in now has definitely been beneficial. And then yeah, I went with some other little agencies, and I'm all for kind of trying to work with the smaller group and kind of do bits and bobs like that. And where they were good, they got me in a position where I could come and work with you ultimately, as harsh as that sounds, but there was no sort of plan B with the smaller companies. Like if there was something wasn't working, it was kind of one of them ones where I was like, what do we do now? Like, how does it work? I'm kind of wanting to go full time, but I can't really do it at the moment. And then, yeah, then just ended up coming back full circle and then getting my unit in January 2026 and then coming to you guys and going, look, I want to go full time. Let's kind of make a thing of it. And then have started with you guys. And it's just kind of gone from being part time, going full time to now looking at bigger units, looking at getting another, like looking at a van, getting staff, which I am getting, and it's just kind of gone from 0 to 100 in like 30 odd days, I think it was, the first 30 days of being with you guys.
Yeah, honestly, it's literally just gone from like 0 to 100, hasn't it, for you? And I just can't believe the kind of transformation from because we've had kind of sort of touch points throughout your sort of when you first got in touch with us, and we were very honest with you, like you say, we were very honest and just said, it'd be really good if you were full time in the business. It'd be really good if financially you were in a position to invest in your marketing, and you've smashed it. You've actually, done all everything that we spoke about. You were like, right, I'm ready. I've done everything you've told me to do. I'm ready to come on board. And we were like, great.
Yeah, it literally was. I think it was, yeah, the touch point, you kind of and ah about it. And then I think the good thing was the advice from yourselves. And I think that's what I've taken, like with my customers as well, with my business is very transparent. Like I wasn't really in a position to start with you when we first inquired because like you have a little bit of money tucked away in your mattress and whatnot. And it's one of the ones where you're like, oh gosh, but if it doesn't work, it's like I'm kind of chewing through everything I've got to get in that position. And I mean, I was working in my driveway. Like as great as that is, and you can offer a service, like no one when you're kind of paying the prices that you do for kind of premium branded services, it's just one you want to turn up someone's house in their driveway, or would you rather go somewhere? So that was all the kind of conversations we had, and they were really honest and really good. And it's just put me in that position now where I am, where it's kind of spend a little bit of marketing and it's kind of massive. Like, I mean, I'm booking usually like 13 weeks in advance now, and that's just ceramic coating jobs. Like, when I look at what I was first charging to now, like it's been massive. Like it's been huge. Yeah, definitely helped me kind of building a brand as well and things like that. And it's been really helpful.
Great, great. And can you think of a particular sort of low point, like a moment where you thought, oh, I don't know if this is going to work? Is there anything that comes to mind for you?
I think it's the usual thing. Like I've say, I've worked with a few different agencies, and it's that first one where you have to fork out the money to start with, and I think that's the hard bit. And you go like, oh, there's £600 or whatever it is, and you go, oh gosh, I wonder if it's going to work. And that's the bit, and then it's really quiet. Usually, it's really quiet for a couple of days, and you don't really get much in. You ring people up, and they're kind of like, oh, I can't really talk to you now. Can't really do that. Can't really commit to that. Obviously, cost of living didn't help at the time. But yeah, lasted like I think with you guys like 24 hours. I think after 24 hours, as low as it was, and I'm such a pessimist, I'm just like, oh, it's not going to work. No one's inquiring. It's not working. And then after 24 hours, it just went mad. I think on weekends now I get something like 25, 30 inquiries every weekend, and then bank holidays. I think we had to turn the ad spend down because I think one weekend I got like 70 inquiries on a bank holiday. So it just
Wow.
went a bit mad. So
Yeah.
yeah, had a very low point. But it's always, and then when you change your ad slightly or you try and do something different and things like that, I think those are the only times where me personally, I'm like, oh God, I really hope this works. And then it's a reality check of like we'll have check-ins and then I'll be like, can anyone have a quick chat? And it's like, I think in May I was booking for July and you
Mm.
think, Christ, is it going to get busy? And you're like, yeah, I'm now booking further in front than what a lot of detailers are. And I think that's a really positive thing, but also don't take it for granted. But it's one of them ones where like my people that have trained me are like, yeah, you're probably the only person I'm talking to that's got a 13-week waiting list.
Wow. And what do you think kind of the root of your kind of skepticism kind of comes from? Is that just kind of your sort of lens on just life in general, or has something happened? Like what's the root of the reason why you were
I think
skeptical?
it's mainly from when I like first started doing this and I was working with someone else or for someone else's like brand. And I was kind of like, oh, there's not really much coming through. And they're like, oh, yeah, we just can't do a week by week basis or two weekly. And I was
Mm,
like, I think that builds in the mentality of, oh my God, like I'm only going to be booking 2 weeks in advance. And it's the thing of actually that's just down to that person only wanting to book 2 weeks in advance. Whereas I'm like, I mean, I've got people booking in September. So it's one of them ones where it's like, it could get to a position where I go, I'm not just not going to work at the end of the year and have some time off and things like that. So I think it's just personal preference and perceptions on things
mm.
mainly.
Definitely, yeah. And kind of when you look back at that sort of time, what do you reckon was kind of what was that actually costing you? Was that costing you money, time, opportunities that you missed? Kind of what you not kind of biting the bullet, what has that kind of cost you, do you think?
I think if I'd have been, I think probably money, to be fair. Like, if
Mm,
I look at what I earn now and what my ads with you generate, I think have I missed out on doubling that at some point? But I think as well, if you kind of look at, oh, I could have done this, and it may or may not have worked, it's not the right way to look at it. It's what I'm doing now, and then what's the plan next, and things like that. But yeah, it's probably money. It's just cost me, but ultimately, it's not money I would have ever had. So I try not to think about it too much.
yeah, sorry to bring that up.
Yeah.
So when we kind of started together, can you remember kind of what we actually did and what was kind of the plan that was put in place for you? Can you kind of remember when you first joined us?
It was making sure I kind of did all the trainee bits. I mean, I've got a background in sales. I've had other businesses and worked for big businesses when I've worked in gyms and things like that. So I kind of did sales side, and you guys were even like, yeah, the sales side is not really an issue. Like, too worried about that. And obviously, I was busy for a part-time person as well. But I think it was kind of making sure it's like, right, when leads are coming in, what do you want to be sent out to them? How do you want that to sound? What do you want that to look like with all of the AI stuff that you guys use now? And as well, it was like going through what do you want your adverts to look like? And what I really liked was how we did the sheet. Like it took about 4 hours for me to fill it out. There was a big old booklet of what sort of stuff do you say? How do you kind of hold yourself? What do you want your brand to look like online? And even like who do you want to target, what areas you want to work in, and stuff like that. And I think that was the biggest difference, which I said to people was between the smaller agencies and yourself is we didn't really do this whole brand package, like, but with yourselves, we did that brand package. And I think that's been the real successful part because, and as well, it's like not plastering prices everywhere. I think as well as if you because I can do sales, you're selling yourself and your product, and no one sells that better than yourself. But that whole brand package, people know what they're getting. The adverts work really, really well. There's like an education side to it. So people aren't coming in blind saying, like, what is it? And I think then people understand it. And that's all of the bits I really like. And the adverts, they all look the same now for my brand because that's my brand, but they don't look the same as everyone else's who is advertising. And I like that they're set aside. And it's just kind of all of that ties in nicely to, like I say, build the brand and bring those people in. And it seems to have worked really, really well.
That's really good. And how have you found kind of capturing content and all of that kind of, that side of things? How's
I
that
think at
been
the
for you?
start for me, it was where I've worked with the smaller agencies, because it wasn't really stuff I would say or do, it was a struggle. And I was a bit like, oh gosh, like this is hard work. And no one likes being on camera to start with. They hate it. I don't care what anyone says because it's rough. And then but like with yourselves, it was kind of like this is kind of what we want you to say, but you can kind of play with it. If there's not something you would say what you'd say, and we'll just kind of make it work. And that was where all the pressure kind of dropped off. Like it wasn't like, oh, stand by the car like this or do that or you know come in here and come from that angle. It's kind of just make sure you can see what you're doing. Make sure you kind of read the lines. It was like simple things like using an like, do you know what I mean? Like these tiny little things, which I haven't done. So I'm not trying to sit there going, right, what was I saying at that sort of situation and blah, like that. And it's like the content, I do better content now. And ultimately, okay, it's just recording stuff and just working and then getting yourself on the camera as much as possible. Like on my content stuff on like Instagram, I make sure that my face is on there at least once a day. So you just get used to it and kind of get numb to the fact of that people will see you. And I mean, you still get stupid comments online because that's online, but it's just one of the things that you just kind of go, okay, cool, great. But yeah, it's just the content's better and it kind of grown my social media as well. But yeah, ultimately, it's not too bad. It's just remembering to do it half the time, if I'm being honest. I do upload little bits month on month to make sure, especially when I've got different types of cars in. Um, I'm doing different little bits and bobs, but yeah, it's just remembering to do it. It's not hard, but it's just yeah, making sure it's different bits that you do.
Yeah, and you mentioned just before we kind of got onto the video just that your kind of social media following has grown from sort of 85 followers to about 600 now since you've been running ads as well, just as a kind of an additional benefit really of running ads, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it went from like I think I was literally talking with someone the other day, one of my clients, and they were like, "Oh, I see you all the time on social media." I was like, "Yeah," and that's with my ads dialed down. Like if I was spending what I should have done, you'd see me every 5 minutes. So it's still getting out there. It's just that brand recognition as well. Like, you know, there are so many detailers everywhere, and they've all got a van. They all do this. They all do that. We all do similar things. We just do it differently. But that's why I only do the ceramic coatings, the machine polishing, and stuff like that because I'm not going to compete with people that are on vans when I don't have a van. So I just have the unit, and then running this sort of stuff with you guys, I've been able to kit it out properly, buy better equipment, and do bigger things. But yeah, I think it's like now my average like profile views is like 50,000 every 28 days, rather than kind of like 20,000. You have a bit of a lull when you're not really posting much because obviously where I've been really, really busy, you kind of forget to post things but sort of trying to do 3 posts a week. But then I'll go and post one bit of content, it gets like 50,000 views. And I don't understand how it works, but it works. And then, yeah, I think 1 month I posted a couple of good videos that you kind of recommended and said, like, try something like this, try something like that. And I think my profile got like 150,000 views in 28 days. So yeah, I went from like 85 followers to like 600 or so, which still isn't massive, but it's that kind of, they're all very much more local. They're all kind of seeing stuff. I have people come and just appear at my unit now so it helps with the organic side as well. So it's definitely
Mm.
beneficial. So yeah, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Well, 600 people in a room, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. So just to summarize, really, what do you think auto growth has kind of done for your business overall, just to summarize?
I think it's kind of done what it says on the tin, really. Like when you talk about growth, like I think my growth has been massive. Like it's been exponential. I think sometimes it's like the pinch me moments, you know. I think, like we said in the video, I spent like 1,200 quid, 2.5 grand with yourselves, and it's been really, really positive how much it's generated. Like, you know, well over 30, 40,000 pounds in like what, 3, 4 months. It's not been it's been massive to the point where like you kind of see these testimonials and we all sit there and we go, oh yeah, I'm sure they're in a great area and blah blah blah. But yeah, it's just yeah, I just couldn't expect it to have actually grown the way it has. Like people that work in the industry that I talk to regularly, people that have trained me, like your growth from day one now has been huge. But I think as well, it's the thing of it is that brand recognition sometimes, and people are like, "Oh, you kind of know what you're talking about," and then you get in the position of your booking so far in advance, you can be yourself a lot more with customers, and they kind of appreciate that. Don't try and oversell, don't try and undersell yourself. But it's just yeah, it's just massive. It's gone huge to the point where yeah, like I say, looking at getting some vans, some staff, maybe another unit in a different location, and then kind of just growing and growing to the point where maybe I don't have to go to work 5 days a week.
Yeah, and look after your knees as well. We were having a chat about your knees.
Absolutely.
You've obviously worked very hard, but no, I think you have absolutely like smashed it out of the park, Jordan, and we have really enjoyed getting you onboarded and seeing you grow in such a short amount of time. I hope you're really proud of yourself and what you've done so far. I mean, this is just the beginning, really, of what you can achieve. And if there was kind of another sort of detailer that was thinking of coming on board with auto growth, what would you kind of say to them?
I think you've got to kind of, and it sounds so cringy, but you got to believe in what you're doing because if you can't believe that you're good at what you're doing and have that imposter syndrome, and I get it all the time, you'll look at one thing and you think, God, this is just not looking right. But a customer will turn up and go, that looks amazing. And you got to realize that they've never really had this service before and it's new to them and people save up for it. So, but you've also got to bite the bullet. Like you just have to make sure you're in a position where you can afford to do it because, and that's something you guys are really stringent on because you can't think this is my last resort because if you do, it doesn't work because you're so worried like, oh, I'm not getting any leads, I'm not getting any leads. I worry about that all the time, but then I have to remember is I've got a 13, 14 week lead. But and you do worry about it, and then but there's always that worry about taking the next step. If you're on a van, do you want to get a unit? Units are hard to come by. But like if you've got a unit, do you want a bigger one? Do you want another van? It's one of them things. That's the thing. Every decision is a hard decision, but once you do it, I think when you're with yourselves, you know the leads are going to come through. They're consistent. Like I say, we've turned my ad spend down, we've halved it, and I'm still getting 5 leads sitting in the pipeline constantly that are active. And then not to mention the other leads. So then we can always look at how we re-engage them and stuff like that. So yeah, you just got to kind of bite the bullet and do it. If you don't take the risk, you kind of live in the thing. And it's having that mentality of, well, what happens if it doesn't work is not the right answer. Well, imagine what happens if it does work. Like that's kind of the mentality you have to kind of take when you work for yourself anyway.
Absolutely. And I think from your story as well, I think you really took on the advice that we gave to you when you initially inquired. And obviously, you've been on quite a journey to get to the point where you were ready to join. And I think you just put all the foundations in place to allow you to grow in the way that you have. So, we really appreciate that. And the other thing I was going to say was the fact that behind the scenes, once your ads are live, you have always been really good with your communication to us as well. So you always feed back to us how you're getting on. You always let us know about kind of your lead time. Obviously, you mentioned to us that you wanted to kind of reduce the budget, So I just think that your communication has been excellent. In terms of kind of communication, how have you found us and our communication with you?
Yeah, it's been good. I think you always think it's just you and Tom. And then it's like there's this wider team that's kind of working with you, and you just go, oh, yeah, there's like 5 or 6 other people, and you're like, yeah, okay, great. It's very quick. Like if I say to you, like, we've removed the option for people to say, I'd like something as soon as possible, or like in the next 7 days, and we're looking and we're saying like 1 to 2 months as a minimum but like that was a pretty instant thing. So that's always really helpful because then you don't have the stressful part. For instance, that an example, like ringing someone up and they've gone, I want it done in 7 days, and you go, I'm booking for September. Like that's immediately you're on such a bad footing because they're like, well, you're not offering me what I want. So like, yeah, it's been really, really quick and it's been really good. If there's been any issues, like not issues, but it's like I think my card got declined or something. And Tom was like, "Oh yeah, no worries. Can you just get that sorted out?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, sorry, I changed my banks over. So I had to get a business one." And it was like, "Yeah," and it's just all very streamlined. There's no issues. There's not really any wait times. The issue is obviously I'm a dad, so if I'm up at like 11, 12 o'clock at night trying to do admin, I'll message the group, and it's kind of one of the ones. But like usually Tom comes back to me like 3 in the morning. I think me and Tom sat on a call trying to sort something out once at 3 in the morning,
Wow.
because we were both awake.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this, and I think it was like he could feel it was stressing me out because something wasn't working in how our pipeline was going. And he literally just rang me up and said, we'll just get this sorted now. Like, so yeah, it's just always there. There's always someone, but it's just patience as well. Like you've got to appreciate that I'm not the only person that you work with.
Hmm.
So that's kind of you find that out and you're like, yeah, no, this is good, this works. And as well, I think one other thing I will say is that when I've said, what do you reckon like times are for calling people and stuff? Because like where I've worked with other agencies, they're like they used to ring on my behalf. And I think I lost work because like someone got rung on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, with text messages were going out and all sorts of things. So I think a big thing I said to you guys was I don't want to ring people on weekends. I don't want to ring people past like 6 or 7 o'clock at night because I wouldn't want to be rung at 6 or 7 o'clock at night. And we've changed the messages that go out saying like, when there's another weekday, we can give you a ring, or on bank holidays, we're like, we're shut for a bank holiday, we'll be back on this day. So that's it's all those tiny little things, and that's communicating that with you, and then you kind of giving me feedback on, yeah, this might actually work, and this will we'll see what that's like. We're not convinced and stuff like that. So it's been good. It works both ways.
Definitely. I think we are almost like an extension to your team, aren't we, to your business. So you always have someone there that can help you and kind of, brainstorm. And if you've got ideas, at least you've got someone to kind of go, can we try this? And you've got some feedback with that. So that's really good. And just to kind of summarize our conversation today, what three words would you use to describe auto growth?
I think the main one's like professional. I think that's a big thing, like where we started our relationship to where it is now. It's always been very professional. It's always been very, I think, kind of, what else would I say? Yeah, professional. Definitely all about the growth. Because I mean, like we say, that it's gone massive quickly. And it's just like I think it's very much easy working. I know that's not like the three best words in the world, but the easiest thing, like anything I have in my mind, I can put that in our group and kind of say, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I want to work. And it's not kind of, no, that's not right. Whereas I've had that with other people. You guys are like, yeah, let's have a look at that. Oh, can you do this? And like I say, the team is bigger than me, you, and Tom. There's like three other people. Then we have that AI chatbot that absolutely spams me when I don't reply to something. But then that's even been really helpful. Like that's that professionalism. Like you're going with the times. And like I think I put in the group once, oh, when do you reckon the best time to call leads is? Because I'm so busy. Sometimes I have to stop what I'm doing to call someone. And it gave me this list of information that these times work really well, these days, maybe not every day. I think it said like Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays are like the best days in the morning from like 10 until 11:30 because everyone's settled in their week and these are the times. Like it's just small little things like that, and that comes under that professionalism blanket. And it's not. And what I like is if you don't emulate the brand standard that you have, it's well, we can't work together if you're not going to be that what we expect. And I think that's a really good thing, and that kind of weeds out maybe the businesses that aren't as professional as they should be and things like that. So yeah, but it's been very easy for you guys, so that's a positive.
Well, that's really good to hear, really good. And equally with yourself, Jordan, it's been it's been really great to see you grow and to put the effort in as well because it's not easy. It's not easy.
Self-employed is never easy, but it is
No.
massive. Like you can say, "Oh, I'm just not going to go to work for this week," and that's a nice position to be in. You're not beholden to kind of anyone, uh, and that's a nice position to be in. You, but a big thing for me is like my mentor said to me when I first started, and I did some training with them. He was like, "The problem is." You're never quite satisfied. Like you'll go from making like £1,000 a month to 10,000, then £10,000 is not enough. You want 20,000, then 30. He's like, that's the only problem with self-employment. There's no one to kind of rein you in and your expectation. So that's just a word to the wise because that is hard work. And that's where I think the trepidation of being self-employed comes from. You're like, oh God, for instance, like summer is going to be massive, like, and it always is. And it's like we had the vans on the fleet and stuff like that. It's going to be even bigger, and we'll send people out, and then we'll maybe get a bigger unit. We've already got companies like like dent companies and sprayers and body kit people. Like maybe we'll all go and get a big unit together under your brand and stuff like that. So there's a lot of cogs in the machine, but it's kind of going like, yeah. Then you look at the numbers, and you think, oh, great, you could be a millionaire. But it's just one of those things you have to rein yourself in, and I think that's the important bit is and being smart with it. That's the only thing, kind of not overreaching, but then not kind of underselling it.
Definitely. It's really nice to hear that you can obviously see that with where you're going, you could potentially kind of head that way to that big vision and those big numbers. But you're doing
Yeah.
great. So thank you so much for your time today. So thank you, Jordan.